How to trace an IP address, myth versus reality. In 15 years now, this is another one of those common threads, those questions that keeps coming back and back, often with unrealistic expectations because of people having watched too many movies or TV shows, where IP address tracing seems to be a very simple thing that gets exactly what the police or whomever needs at that point in time. It's not really that simple. That's part of the myth. Let's look at the reality. How to trace an IP address. Myth versus reality. Thanks to popular media, many people expect much more from an IP address than is practically available. I'll separate myth from fact. I'm Leo Notenboom. This is askleo.com. There's a common misconception that it's easy to trace an IP address to the computer to which it's assigned and to be able to identify the computer's location. It's certainly not easy, and depending on who you are, it may not even be possible. IP addresses. An IP, or Internet Protocol address, is the unique number assigned to every device connected to a network. They are used to route data between devices. Much like your mailing address identifies the physical location of your mailbox and tells your mail carrier where to deliver your mail, a device's IP address tells the Internet where to send the data destined for your computer. But while an IP address is like a physical address, it's important to realize that it isn't one. IP addresses are based on your internet service provider, not on where you are. For example, the IP address assigned to your computer at home will be radically different than the one assigned to your neighbor next door if you use different ISPs. Even if you do use the same ISP, there are no rules or practices that would make your IP address appear close to one another. While technically inaccurate, the best way to think of it is that the IP addresses are assigned at the whim of the ISP providing the internet connection. Movies and TV shows lie. Television and movie dramas lead us to believe that given an IP address, a criminal can be located in minutes. It's nowhere near that easy. Public information about an IP address tells you which ISP provides it and not much else. Some additional information might be available to indicate the area where the IP address resides, but that is rarely more specific than what country or perhaps what city it's in. As we saw above, the ISP holds the key. The ISP that owns the IP address assigned to your computer also knows where you live. That's where they send the bill or hook up the wires. Most ISPs adhere to a strict privacy policy that prevents them from disclosing that information. That's why you might be able to identify the ISP involved and nothing more. For more, you need help. Enter the courts. Police and the courts can, with appropriate cause, request or even demand the location connected to an IP address. Typically, that means that law enforcement professionals go to a judge and provide evidence of reasonable cause that a crime has been committed, at which point the judge issues an order compelling the ISP to release the information. If there's nothing to suggest a crime has been committed, then in theory, even law enforcement cannot get the information. This puts the victims of cyberbullying and other forms of online harassment at a disadvantage. As long as the activity is technically legal, there's little that can be done to trace the offender. Fortunately, many locations are passing laws that address these situations more directly and allow law enforcement to trace offenders. Privacy is a two-way street. While it's certainly important that IP address locations be available when needed, privacy is also an important concern. Since your computer's IP address is available whenever you use the internet, you don't want someone random to use it to locate you. ISPs are important gatekeepers of that privacy. The reality is an IP address does uniquely identify a connection to the internet, and that information can be used to determine a physical location. The myth is that it's easy. It's not. Important privacy practices prevent that level of detail from being available to the general public. Typically, ISPs and law enforcement must be involved. For links related to this article or to leave a comment, visit askleo.com/85436. I'm Leo Notenboom. This is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.